This is Doug DeMuro, and today I am here with my friend Kennan. Kennan is one of my very best friends, and today he has brought over a bunch of DuPont registries from the peak of the recession. These are like early 09, late 08.
Through 09. I actually had these in period at the time. I bought these because I was curious and still have them today.
So we're going to talk about what car values were when things were in shambles and go through and see what we should have bought stuff for. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Before I get started, be sure to check out Cars and Bids, which is my enthusiast car auction website for cool cars from the modern era with free listings. You can list your cool car for free and auction it on Cars and Bids. And you should, because we've had some great sales lately, like this Ferrari F355 that sold for just over $101,000, this BMW M4 Competition that sold for $56,000, and this fantastic Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution, which sold for just over $42,000. If you're looking to buy or sell a cool enthusiast car from the modern era, Cars and Bids is the place to do it. With daily auctions and great selection, check it out at carsandbids.com. Okay, so DuPont registries from the peak of the recession. Which one do you have?
I have April 2009.
I got March of 09. So, I mean, the Dow hit its absolute lowest point in March of 09. So this is like, the banks all failed in late 08. This is like, nobody's buying anything. Everybody's terrified. No one wants these cars.
Yeah, people are buying these and looking and they're like, oh, if I hadn't just lost every cent I own, I could have bought X, Y, and Z.
People are buying the magazine, but not the car.
Yeah, and people who had the cars like, get it in the magazine as fast as possible.
Right. Get it out of here before it loses another 20 grand in value. Okay,
exactly.
So let's see what it is that we can find in here.
All right, so here's one that I found. So this is a 2004 996 GT3, 7,600 miles. These have really come into appreciation.
Okay, 996 GT3 is 7,600 miles. Today, that's like a 150, 180 car.
Yeah, something like that. It's got a couple miles on it, admittedly, but 74.5.
74.5 for a GT3.
For a GT3.
And that's like a low mileage.
Really nice, late, it's an 04, so it's like, man, it's nice. Silver with silver wheels. Not the craziest color, but nice GT3.
All right, here is a 91 Diablo. Oh my God, this is amazing. Okay, here are two next to each other. 91 Diablo.
Okay.
Red over tan. Just had a 30K major engine out and a new clutch. Asking $84,995. Or right next to it, an 09 Audi R8, an R-tronic car. So the clunky R-tronic car, asking $139,000. The R8, an 09 R8 was double the money of a Diablo.
I forgot for so long Lamborghinis were just underappreciated cars, and like, man, that is rough.
I remember being in school. I graduated in the spring of 10, and I remember in college, and I remember thinking to myself, Lambos are too cheap. Even then, I didn't have any money, but I remember thinking like, you could get a Countach in the low hundreds. You could get an LMO2 under 100. You could get a Diablo for 84 asking. Or this car probably transacted like 73.
Right, or you get an Audi R-tronic.
Or you get an R-tronic, all right. I mean,
wow.
Crazy.
Oh, here's a gold mine. So this is a Ferrari. This is 3 Ferrari dealers. Ferrari of Newport Beach, Ferrari of San Diego, and Ferrari of Washington.
Oh boy. Yeah, they still are in the same dealer group to this day. They survived all this.
And boy.
They got prices?
They got prices.
All right, what do they got?
All right, so here we go. So we're going to start with a big one, 1995 Ferrari F50.
Oh, okay. This is a U.S. car?
This is a, yes, U.S. car, 3,800 miles.
Oh, okay. So right now, in today's market, that's like a $4.5, $5 car.
$1 million car. Yeah, definitely. So they list it $949.
Oh my God, for a U.S. car, for a U.S. F50. So that car has gone up 5x.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, wow. $949 for 3,800 mile F50.
Yeah, that's a hard one as well. So.
And they probably had an impossible time moving that thing. And that was an asking price at a Ferrari dealer. So that car probably transacted. I wouldn't be shocked if the number started with an 8.
Honestly, yeah, that sounds probably more realistic for what it probably went for. But man, yeah, $949, crazy. Another one on this, so 2001 Ferrari 550 Barchetta, 584 miles.
Okay, so that's like $1 million now.
Yeah, so red on black car. So yeah, 275.
275 with no miles.
No miles, like a brand.
You know, that car is still somewhere with no miles on it, and now it's worth $1 million.
Now to put it in perspective, as a contrast to that, 2007 599 F1. They go out of their way to highlight F1 here.
Right. Because F1 was hot at the time. F1 was like a thing you wanted back then. All right.
Exactly.
Okay, so 07 599 F1, and this magazine's from like early 09. Right?
Yep, and 2,400 miles.
Okay, so it's like been driven a little. Someone's about to take a bath in the recession, but not crazy. What are they? 250.
So 275. So you could have 275,000. So you could have that or the
Barchetta or a 599.
Look at
today, a 0-mile 550 Barchetta is $1 million car, and that 599 is like 180.
Probably maybe a little bit more. I mean, it's right because of the miles. Yeah.
Wow.
But wow. Also from them, so I have one more from this deal that's like really notable. So 1997 993 Turbo.
Okay.
So this is a silver car. 19,000 miles, one owner. They went to highlight.
Okay, so that car, today's market, is probably a 300, 320 car.
That sounds appropriate. 79.9.
I remember when I was at Porsche, which was from like 10 to 13, I remember looking at a 993 Turbo that was offered for 85, and I turned it down because it was too much. Right, and here we are. I think every car enthusiast has those stories. Yeah. But it is shocking to have it staring you back in the face, you know. Oh. That is crazy. Those are some wild numbers. Okay, so this is March of 09. 2005 Ford GT. With only 1,492 miles, so 1,500 mile 05 Ford GT, 6-speed, obviously, white on blue, white with blue stripes. And they say it's supercharged. What do you think? So today that car is probably a 375 400 car.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
What do you think they were asking in March of 09 at Lamborghini Denver?
Man, I don't know. I would guess like, I don't know, 115, 130.
It wasn't that low. 150. Okay.
150.
You could buy, for 150, you could buy that, or you could buy an 07 Gallardo for 170 with an auto.
Of course, yeah, exactly. Wow.
Or you could buy a 99 Diablo VT. Oh my God, the next one's gonna be crazier. But 99 Diablo VT, okay, silver black, this is a coupe. Okay. Take a guess what that's probably now a low threes car, high twos.
It must have been over 100. I'm guessing 110?
166, not that bad.
Oh, okay,
but
so more.
04 Mercy 6-speed with 4,000 miles.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
That's like a 250, no, more than that, probably like a 300.
Yeah, I think 350 is probably the right number in that car. I'm guessing 200 maybe?
190. It was the same number as a 2008 Gallardo Spider that they had with an automatic transmission.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep. What a world.
What a world.
Those Lambos really have come up in like a surprising way. And obviously Ford GT, everybody knows, is going crazy.
I got the next one. This one pertains to you specifically.
All right, okay.
So you're going to have a 2005 Porsche Carrera GT.
All right, 05 Carrera GT.
So yellow with a terracotta interior. It doesn't say if it's fancy yellow, but
yellow
whatever.
Over terracotta.
Yellow over terracotta.
Looks like fancy.
They don't say how many miles it has, but it's got the luggage, battery tender, all that stuff.
So assuming normal miles right now, that car in yellow with the luggage, that's probably like a 1.7 to $2 million car.
Take a wild stab at what you think it's
worth. Okay, 09 yellow. They were 440 new. They depreciated like crazy.
It's only 4 years old at this point.
Yeah. 350?
You're close. 365.
365. What a pickup that would have been.
Yep, buy and hold for sure.
There is a guy who comes to our local Cars and Coffee who's got a Carrera GT and an F40 and a bunch of other stuff, named Bill. He's very nice. And I was talking about his Carrera GT, and he told me he bought it for $370. But he told me he bought his F40 for $360. And it's a U.S. car. It's a U.S. car. That's probably a $3 million car now. He said, when I was buying it, nobody knew what they were. I'm like, oh my God. Would have been nice to have money at that time.
Yeah, truly.
Whenever that was.
Truly. From the same page, here's another one. So this is a yellow 993 Turbo.
Okay.
So this one has some mods and 28,000 miles, so driven a little bit more than the other one. But has original window sticker, stuff like that, black and gray interior.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, the yellow car, assuming it's a factory, which it would be then, that's probably a 300 car with lower, miles.
Yep. 79.9.
79.9. Nobody wanted it. They were used cars. Nobody wanted it. They were. And you know what the funny thing is? I haven't mentioned it yet, but I've been flipping through pages and seeing 996 turbos, and they're the same money.
Right. That I'm definitely not.
Because those were pretty new. You know, the 997 turbo had just come out. So 996 turbos were only just starting to lose value. So the people were asking 50, 60, 70 for them then.
So here's another one. So this is like pretty current at that time. 2007 997 GT3, but it's an interesting color, midnight blue metallic with a black interior and 6,700 miles.
Wow. Okay. Low mileage. I mean that now is probably one high ones, 160 maybe 170.
Right. And 997 GT3s in colors are just
rare. They're all white.
Rare.
Or red.
105.
105. There was a period for a long time, even just right up until the like COVID stuff and everything went nuts, where 997 GT3s were like more affordable than they should have been given what they are. I got two 550 Maranellos.
Oh man. Okay.
Kennan loves a 550.
I do love a 550.
Okay. 99 550 that 13,000 miles with a 2B red tan, driven by a Ferrari aficionado.
As they all were.
13,000 miles, right. This is what happens when you let people write their own ad copy. This is why we write it.
This is why we write it at Carson Bits, that's right.
Okay, so 13,000 miles. This is a $97,000 ask. There's also a Euro car with the same miles on here with an $85,000 ask. So those are probably 150 to 180 cars now, so they've doubled.
Absolutely, wow. All right, I have one.
All right.
Some of the interesting things I'm realizing is some of these cars were, still very much on the depreciation curve.
I know.
And
A lot of Gallardos
like,
in here for big money.
and V8 Vantages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Here's one. So this is a 2005 Ferrari 612. So Tour de France blue with a tan interior, which I like. Now, it's a controversial car.
How many miles?
5,200 miles.
Okay, so that's like a low hundreds car now, maybe 110.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 179.9, so 180.
So those cars were still valuable then.
Yeah, so they're still valuable at that time.
All right, I am going to blow your mind. I have run across the greatest page in the history of this magazine. I got Veyron Enzo. Yeah. All right, okay. 2008 Bugatti Veyron with delivery miles. So here's someone, they bought the Veyron, they were indicted.
Definitely.
Indicted.
Finance is about 1 minute before the company.
Indicted? Because there was no flipping these. They lost money the moment they existed.
Yes.
Okay, so they bought the Veyron, they were immediately indicted, they had to sell it, or it was just seized. Asking. Now delivery mile Veyron, they're rare, but I bet that would be like a 1.3 car maybe. They're asking 1.8 here. And there was a period where that would have been an $800,000 car, for sure. Wow. But here's the crazy one. 03 Ferrari Enzo, US car.
US car, how many miles does it say?
It doesn't say, but it is a US car red.
Wow.
So an average Enzo now, what do you think? Like 4 million, 3.5?
Yeah, something in that
3.5,
range,
4, something like
on
that.
the car.
Out of the world.
Right.
1.29.
Wow. See, in my mind, that car at that time was 1.2. That's kind of what I remember them being. So that sounds about right.
The first one transacted for like $1 million. The first one, which was crazy because the sticker was $650, and cars weren't being flipped back then like they are now. That was like rare that something would go for more than what the automaker set as the sticker price. Man, there's just one of the things that's really standing out to me is there's just so many depreciating Ferraris. Like you could have made, like here I'm looking at 06 430 for 240. That car hasn't been 240 since. To this day.
Yeah, exactly.
05 430 for 230, 599 for 400. I mean, come on. Phantom Coupe for 440.
But yeah.
That's an $88,000 car now.
Rolls Royces, yeah, I definitely see, and Bentleys too.
I think it's interesting though because you could have made an amazing decision in 09 and you could have made a terrible one.
Well, as the stock market proved, that was the case for some people who held.
You just didn't know. You had no idea. You did not know what was going to happen.
It is interesting. I mean, it comes back to the old logic of buy what you like, because even if it's worth a lot less, you're stuck with it. At least you like the car. I guess,
but people would have said, "Hey, I like the 430. I'm going to spend $250 on that," and then it was worth $150. Whereas if you had bought that Ford GT I mentioned before, you would have 4x'd your money. Whereas with these 430s, you'd be hit half.
Cars are bad investments.
Generally, this Enzo is.
That Enzo.
I mean, that's the thing. Like this magazine is littered with you could have and you didn't know because no one knew 997 GT3 RSs were going to blow up.
Right.
Or Enzos would 4x. Nobody knew that. Or Veyrons would drop. I mean, this whole thing is just like a crapshoot. Right.
Same thing. Like there's a Rolls Royce here that they're bragging that it has $90,000 in options, and people probably thought that added value at the time, but really,
no, it doesn't help. And 90 grand is like normal options now on any Rolls Royce.
Right.
Oh, here we go. Oh my. Okay. All-time winner right here. This is going to blow you away.
Okay.
You will never have been blown away more than you're about to be blown away.
Okay, go for it.
1992. This is at Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Ferrari F40.
Wow.
This is a U.S. car.
So that's final year of production.
The final model year U.S. car, which is for years was the most desirable in the U.S. That's changed a little, but regardless. 92 U.S. car with 2,800 miles.
Oh my God.
So today, that car is 3.5 to 4, I would guess. Probably the most desirable F40, like a super low mile, late production U.S. car. That's like a 3.5 to 4 car right now.
Right. Wow.
What was Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale desperate to find a buyer for this car for in 2009?
If I had to put a number on it, I'd guess, I don't know, $500,000?
$599.
Wow.
$599. So 600 would have bought you that F40.
Wow.
3.5 to 4 today. Or for 500, you could have bought a 599 and paid over. That's what I'm talking about, though. Like,
You just didn't know. There was no way to know. And ultimately, like, the F40 was an old car.
it was an old car, and like whatever. People didn't. The vaunted like Ferrari supercar collections weren't happening really as much. It was the recession. People were desperate. Maybe the car's been hit. Who knows?
At that time, too, people were still in Europe were using them on track days. Like, that was relatively
modding
common.
them. People were modding them.
That's true.
The brake boosters and all this dumb crap.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
And $599,000 for an F40.
Well, couldn't have afforded not to.
I know.
That's crazy.
That would have been a better investment, I suspect, than almost any security, any stock, almost all homes. Like the homes in 09 were down, but they didn't go from $600,000 to $4 million. That didn't occur. Like everybody who's always like, oh, my wife won't let me buy this car. I always think to myself, like, some cars, you make the right choice. That's wild stuff. $599. Oh, if only we had had money in 09.
Tying into your point about like why we write these listings, I love that some of these are written. There's one there's a Diablo that's written. There's too much to, so TOONTOO list.
Too much to
list.
All right, here's a 2006 BMW 760 Li asking $60,000. That's like his $4,000.
So true.
But there was a time.
But even then, like the guy was desperate to get rid of
Right,
it.
and he was not
maintenance
getting
also, and the fact that it was worthless at that stage.
Oh my God! This is the winner. Straight Line Automotive Group, 1993 Jaguar XJ220.
Wow.
1,300 miles, which now I guess is like a $600,000 or $800,000 car, maybe more with 1,300 miles.
Maybe, yeah.
But back then, it was worth.
I have no idea even where to guess what that car. 350?
$232. Oh. Which on this same page, there was an 07 Bentley Azure asking the same money. Yeah. And that car is now worth $65.
Now, of course, at that time, people weren't cross-shopping those two anyway, and never have in human history.
Nor should they have been.
Nor should they have been.
But do you believe that $232, you could have bought an XJ220? I mean, that's what those F430s were going for a minute ago.
It just further underscores the point that, like, at that stage, like, really was, like, there was very little consideration to older things. And, like, I know you hate it, but also in, like, watches, it was the same thing. Like, people didn't, they wanted the new stuff. They didn't care about the vintage stuff. And that, not that that's vintage, but it is older and, like,
it was
there
a
were very
used
few
car.
discerning people who were interested in it.
That's exactly right. There's this period where cars are new and hot, and they're those F430s that were over sticker. Mm-hmm. And then they do this because they're like used cars that nobody really wants for like a while. And then there's like a sudden appreciation for like, ooh, that was cool.
Right. Well, it's just being different. You know, at some point, everybody was driving around in F430s.
Right.
If you show up in a Diablo,
right.
I mean, or an XJ220, that just, it stands out so much.
It became special as time went on. The cars became like unfindable, and it became special and all that.
But again, part of it is age too. Like people who love those cars when they were new, then remember them. And at this point, like you said, they were just at the got to be the bottom of that.
It was just a used car. Anybody who wanted them had already tried it out.
Yep.
And now they were just like moving on to like a hot new car.
Oh, here's one. So 2009 Maserati Quattroporte. 600 miles.
Okay, so this is a brand new Quattroporte that again the owner flipped out of because he's serving time.
Yep, right, definitely, and it's beautiful, green with a tan interior, lots of options. Factory sticker on it was $141,740.
And what are they asking that?
So they brag, save $20,000, $121.
You can get that car for $121. That's a $30,000 car.
Yeah, on a good day with that many miles.
For twice
it'd be
the money,
different, but
you could have bought an XJ220, or you could have ridden that thing down to the point where it's worth about as much as a base model Corolla. Either way, you would have been happy.
Yes.
Okay, here's one for you. Kennan, Ferrari F355 owner. Kennan loves his cars.
I do.
His F355. How about this? Ferrari of Atlanta. 95 F355 GTS. 6-speed, red over tan. That's the dream 355 right now. Kennan has a Spider. He aspires to a GTS.
I do not. I personally like being able to hear the sound a little bit better. I know the GTS is what everybody loves, but very special car nonetheless. They didn't build that many.
They didn't build many. They're cool.
They're very cool.
So that car, it's got 29,000 miles, but it has a new clutch and just had a major.
Wow.
What is that car worth now? That's like a 250 car now?
Yeah, solidly in the 200s, maybe 235. It's softened a little, but not much. Yeah, so that's about right.
What do you think Ferrari of Atlanta was hoping some recession buyer would come in and buy that for?
I bet it was like 85.
67.5.
Oh my gosh.
With a fresh major and a new clutch.
Wow.
67.5. Now, in fairness, that car especially has shot up like crazy within the last few years.
That's right.
That was sitting, not 67.5 is low, but that was sitting at
in
90
in
for a long time.
2019, yeah, that would have, you could have gotten that car for around where I was saying. But yeah, of course, keeping in mind with the 355 is even if you bought it and kept it that long, the maintenance cost alone would have negated the entire appreciation curve of that car.
You're right.
Which I can relate to.
That's such a great point. Some of these cars would have been great investments, and some of these cars you would have just netted out, even if they 4X.
Right, exactly.
All set.
Right.
And this is one of those.
That is definitely one of them. But man, what a beautiful thing to look at.
It is beautiful, and it's amazing. And it's especially amazing to see right below that a 01 360 Spider with rims. Asking 130. Double.
As you did.
Double for a automatic 360 Spider with rims because it was a newer car.
Here's one more Maserati. This one was at Midwestern Auto Group in Ohio. I actually remember seeing this car in person. Someone in my neighboring town bought it.
Oh.
So 09, so it's brand new. So at no miles, yellow, which very unusual for a Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
09 yellow Gran Turismo. I don't know if I've ever seen a yellow Gran Turismo. So that was the SMT year, maybe. 09s, they had sequential manuals.
That's right. So yeah, take a while to have it. What do you think that was worth?
I mean, it was
brand
new. 130.
You're not far off. 126.7. So that's what a $40,000 car these days.
On a very, very good day.
Yeah. So here's another Ferrari for you that I found. So this is a Prugna 308 GTB. Very rare color on that car. Very highly desirable.
GTB, you said?
It's a GTB. Also quite rare because you could get GTS with a hardtop. So very few people bought a GTB.
Coupe,
Why would you buy a coupe?
And Prugna is like a purplish, dark red.
Yeah.
Not the most attractive.
But very desirable because very uncommon.
Yeah, right. I agree.
29.5.
Oh, no way.
Now, granted, it's a GTBI, the fuel injected car, so it's
the least desirable. But it's a coupe and it's a cool color coupe.
Yeah,
that's probably a $100,000 car now.
Easily. So yeah.
There are cars in here, like we're talking about XJ220s and Enzos and F40s as cars that went crazy, but there are cars in here that you didn't have to spend a lot of money for. That I just came across, but didn't. I found a 348 that was listed at 39.
Wow.
Wow.
I remember Testarossas all day for 60.
Oh yeah, totally. No, I do too. I mean, TRs were 60 and 348s and 308s were 20 to 40. And that's just what they cost. And everybody's like, Ferrari's floor at 30 grand. They'll never go below that. And now it's like Ferrari's floor at 100.
Right. That's exactly right. So here's kind of an interesting thing because DuPont has a lot of interesting stuff. So this is the Ferris Bueller's garage. So this is Cameron's garage, like that house that's in Chicago. I think it's in Highland Park. But anyway,
the house is in DuPont Registry.
The house is in DuPont.
It's like, okay.
Because
it was a weird. Was it even have bedrooms? What was the deal?
It did. So the garage itself was separate. So the garage, you can look this up, but the garage is like separate from that. You kind of drive down a gravel drive when you get to that. The house is first, and then you have the famous garage.
So that's why it looked like it didn't have bedrooms.
That's right. Yeah, because that particular building did not. So, but amazing. I mean, an icon of architecture and like just well lauded. 2.3 million. So when you consider what like some of these cars have appreciated to, it's like where this house was.
And in 09, probably sold for 1.5.
Probably.
So there you have it. Some recession era prices of exotic cars. Wouldn't it be nice to have a time machine? It's cliche. Every car enthusiast says that.
Right, and everybody has that story about, I saw this back then, and if only I had bought it, now it would be worth a lot of money.
Amazing, though. Amazing to see what some of these cars are selling for, and that, like, some new cars were just like
just completely worthless.
have just
Almost
destroyed. There you go. That is our look back at old prices of exotic cars. Bye bye.